Va bene, allora adesso ovviamente parleremo della Final Four di Kaunas, manderemo Marza che sarà inviato, uomo di Area 52 on site per controllare che tutto vada nel modo migliore e avremo anche contributi, avremo anche un paio di appuntamenti speciali, seguiteci sui nostri canali social perché vi avviseremo, ma in linea di massima dovrebbe essere sicuramente un appuntamento un po' più corto magari, ma il sabato, cioè dopo le 2 semifinali e quando saremo quindi a 24 ore dalla palla 2 della partita più importante della stagione. E poi naturalmente lunedì prossimo saremo live per parlare della squadra che ha vinto l'Eurolega. Chi ci può parlare di squadra che ha vinto l'Eurolega, ma non solo naturalmente, e torna ad Area 52 e noi siamo veramente molto molto orgogliosi di nuovo, lo mettiamo subito in onda perché è qui con noi e quindi perché farlo aspettare? Minuti buttati. Eccolo qua, coach David Blatt. Welcome back to Area 52, coach.
Grazie ragazzi, ciao a tutti.
Hi, coach. Welcome back.
So, it can be a moment more happy because if Maccabi has won the game 5, obviously that will be the Final Four, and we can talk with David Blatt. But the game 5 are strange. Sometimes go like that. The first question is very easy, coach. After 5 days, what you're feeling now, mainly? I know you will be disappointed maybe a couple of days after, but we think Maccabi have done a great season. So I think that the proud has to be more than the disappointment. What do you think?
Well, you know, I've always said that not accomplishing a certain goal should leave you feeling sad, but not disappointed. Disappointment comes from not doing your very best and giving your all. And I thought, as far as the Euroleague season was concerned, our team did that.
So, Coach, I'm going directly into the series and to the words of Coach Katash after the game. He said, "I'm not sure that the best team won." And this is a kind of feeling that so many commentators had.
I am going to hopefully not insult football fans because I greatly respect the game of football. But I've always believed at the end of the day in basketball, the best team wins. In football or soccer, as I knew it growing up, I'm not sure that's always the case because there are so many fewer actors that can determine a game. But, you know, far be it from me to disagree with our great coach Katash.
But in any case, after those words, I would say that, or can we say that the experience factor in Euroleague playoff is so important, and at the end of the day, this is the most important thing that some of your players were missing in a kind of situation like game 5.
I don't think there's any question. You know, I want to be fair and use from my own experience as a coach, who, although I had been part of Euroleague championships or European championships as an assistant coach, the first time that my Maccabi Tel Aviv team went to the Final Four in Bologna, by the way, we lost in the semifinal to Panathinaikos and Coach Obradovic, who ironically, of course, coached in Benetton before I did. But he came in with Dian Bodiroga and many others, and he also came in with 4 or 5 Euroleague titles before I did. And thinking back, I fully recognize that I wasn't quite ready for that challenge. And his experience and his greatness, of course, and no one would disagree that he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time of European coaches. That was a big factor. It was a big factor as far as I was concerned, not to mention that of the players, because we had some experienced players. So having been there and having gone through it, without a doubt, it's a big advantage. The Monaco team had a roster that had many players from the year before on it. They had already lost in a fifth game the season before. The second time around, the next season, they play a 5-game series and won. And without question, also with the same coach, Sasha Obradovic, without question, the experience factor was very decisive, no question.
Ho chiesto al coach se il fattore esperienza sia stato. Siamo partiti dalle parole di coach Kattash, che ha detto che non è sicuro che abbia vinto la squadra migliore, e il coach ha detto subito no. Io vi dico, una pallacanestro vince sempre la squadra migliore. Non voglio essere in contrasto con quello che ha detto il nostro grande coach, ma penso che sia così. E poi abbiamo parlato del fattore esperienza, che può essere quello che è mancato ad alcuni giocatori in gara 5. Lui dice sì, ha fatto degli esempi anche che riguardavano le sue esperienze passate, dicendo che in alcune occasioni non si è trovato nella situazione, cioè gli è sembrato non essere prontissimo per determinate cose per via del fattore esperienza, che ritiene assolutamente un fattore determinante, una questione assolutamente determinante in questo contesto, che possono essere gare 5, Final Four o comunque gare decisive. Vai Paglia.
Coach, I jump from Maccabi Monaco to Real Partizan. Many underlined the work that Obradovic did with his team, but not so many underlined what Matteo did with Real in the series. I think, first of all, of the use of zone defense, for example. How do you judge his work, choose work in this series?
With Chu, for example, he's coming after the great Pablo Lasso, and he's stepping into a situation that is full of pressure and expectation, and not really having the benefit of being quite ready for that. That was unexpected, what happened with Coach Lasso, the great, So his ability to not only find a way to put his team in position to qualify for the Final Four, but to do it after losing 2 games at home, it's really a terrific accomplishment. Notwithstanding some of the things that happened that you can't overlook, this was a highly, highly unusual and a very, very controversial set of circumstances and decisions on the part of the Euroleague, and they absolutely were a factor in the ultimate result. We can't overlook that. But as far as Chu and the job that he did, hats off. As well as to Jellico, who took a team, that to that level that it wasn't expected. But again, this speaks only to his greatness.
Ho chiesto al coach, visto che comunque abbiamo parlato spesso del lavoro che ha fatto Obradovic con il Partizan, di magari dirci cosa pensava di coach Matteo invece quello che ha fatto con il Real, e ovviamente ci ha rimarcato come venendo dopo il grande Pablo Laso comunque doveva stabilire il suo livello, trovare un modo di portare la squadra alle Final Four. L'ha trovato ovviamente con quell'asterisco grande, enorme che c'è ovviamente intorno ai fatti di gara 2, ma appunto ci ricolleghiamo insomma al discorso precedente, quello dell'esperienza, appunto, che quindi quella si fa insomma strada facendo. And second question, coach, seems that it's all ready for Bezenkov's jump to the NBA. While for a guy like Micic, this possibility seems not that hot anymore. Do you think they are both ready to have a true impact in the NBA?
Well, you have to think about the timing and the age of each player. I think personally, had Micic decided to go earlier, I really think he could have found his way in the NBA. I'm sure of it. I'm also sure that if Sasha goes, he's going to be successful because he's so suitable to the modern game and the way that it's played in the NBA, and specifically to the way that Sacramento plays, I think he has a great chance to be successful.
Una domanda molto semplice, appunto sull'impatto che potrebbe avere Vesenkov andando in NBA e quello che avrebbe potuto avere Micic invece andandoci, anche se sembra che si sia un po' raffreddata la pista. Il coach è assolutamente sicuro che potrebbero avere successo entrambi. Micic, se fosse andato, insomma, sicuramente non aveva dubbi, insomma, che avrebbe trovato il suo spazio, e su Vesenkov è convinto anche che sia un buon fit proprio all'interno del contesto dei Sacramento Kings.
Sabonis Vesenkov mi sembra una coppia clamorosa. Marza.
Yes, coach, you won the Euroleague title in 2014 with an outstanding performance by Tyrese Rice. Now, Kostas Lukas in this playoff was simply, I would say, himself. Mike James was dominating. Brown and Baldwin looking like Batman and Robin. And even an old champ like Chacho made the difference in Game 4 and Game 5 with an outstanding performance. It looks like the impact of the point guards is even more than what it was in the past, when we had great players like Jasikevicius, like Spanoulis, like Diamantidis. How do you explain this technical situation?
Well, I mean, you make a great point, first of all, and you're putting your fingers on the main difference in the game and the way that it's changed worldwide. It's a guards game, without question. Look no further than the selections for the top 10 players in the Euroleague this year. 4 out of the 5 second-team players are guards, and 3 out of 5 of the first-team players are guards. And the game is now dominated by not point guards only, but by combo guards more than anything else. And when you talk about a Wade, when you talk about even a Lorenzo, when you talk about Slukas, certainly, these are guys that are scoring guards, playmaking guards that are so impactful in whatever place you want to play him in the now positionless game of basketball. So yeah, it just speaks to what modern basketball has become.
Ho chiesto al coach riguardo all'impatto delle guardie, riguardo al discorso che addirittura oggi sembra molto superiore, facendo gli esempi di gente come Slukas, come Mike James, Baldwin, Lorenzo Brown, eccetera, anche il Ciacio, sembra anche maggiore di un'epoca precedente in cui comunque c'erano stati grandissimi campioni come Diamantidis, come Spanoulis, come Jasikevicius. E lui mi dice sì, questo è il punto fondamentale del cambiamento della pallacanestro di oggi. Ha detto molto direttamente, è un gioco di guardie. Pensate ai quintetti, primo e secondo quintetto di Eurolega, stracolmi di guardie, e che diventano ancora più importanti. Ha usato il termine positionless nella pallacanestro di oggi, positionless, cioè senza è una pallacanestro in cui non ci sono più ruoli, se vogliamo. Quindi ritiene la cosa assolutamente importantissima e che testimonia appunto il cambiamento del gioco. Abbiamo qualcosa per il coach?
Yeah, coach, because we have a lot of our followers. We want to show you something that happened May the 4th. I think you know what I'm just talking about. Here we go.
Okay. I don't know. I'm looking forward.
Okay.
He's been masterminding a battle with multiple sclerosis since 2019, not just learning to live with the disease, but drawing exposure to it to help others as well. This season, returned to Maccabi to sit on the professional committee alongside Coach Kitash, sporting director Nikola Wojciech, and health scouting Avi Even.
The game of basketball
very much playing a part
and you were
as a legend of this world, but in their current
this team
All the best, and I want to congratulate you to be part of Hall of Fame of the club Maccabi.
You're a good friend, an amazing coach. I've learned a lot from you, and I really wish you the best.
An emotional night for
Really
David
honored,
Blatt.
great coach, but the most important,
With messages coming from across
you still owe me a
the
coffee after
basketball
that game in
community.
Milano.
I want to thank you especially
Corners
for
of
my
the
2
globe.
years in Maccabi and all the great times we had
Some of the
together.
most
I'm
famous
extremely
coaches
happy and
who've
fortunate
learned
that you were on my side
under him.
as a coach, as a friend.
Good things happen to
Played
good people.
alongside him,
Definitely want to
worked with him.
congrats, man. Really proud.
It's truly an honor to play for you. Thank you so much for everything you gave to the game and what you did for me.
You've had such a great career.
And fans who have and still do worship
I'm
him.
honored to be a part of honoring you, Yao Maccabi.
Coach Blatt, congratulations. Don't think you're a better man who came this summer. וההערכה הכי חשובה זה שתהיה לי בריא וחזק. ואיך אומרים אצלכם בפרינסטון?
ברכות על הצטרפותך לקהל הקהילה של מכבי תל אביב. אין ראוי ממך.
העלית גם את הקריטריונים וגם את הסטנדרט. בעוד הרבה נחת.
Love you, coach.
A standing ovation.
Whoa!
A legend of the club whose name will live forever in their.
So, Coach, there was, I think, a moment that you will conserve. It was very emotional, I think. Oh, sorry, just because we have some problem with your audio, so I mute you, and then now you're okay. Try to speak, Coach. Ok, si ricollega, perfetto, fa un salto fuori. Intanto di nascosto è arrivato l'ospite, il fil rouge, l'ospite speciale,
Il fil rouge.
si disconnette. Allora, non so se metterlo subito.
Ce lo facciamo trovare dentro.
Lo facciamo trovare
dai.
dentro. Sì, dai,
Sì.
lo trovare dentro. Eccolo qua. Maurizio Gherardini, per cui non ho neanche preparato il sottopancia. Però lo
di
saluto.
pancia ne ho abbastanza, di pancia ne ho abbastanza.
Però il sotto questo è il sotto.
Sì, no, ma era il sotto, quindi ci sta anche quello. Vediamo se è tornato.
Ciao Maurizio, grazie innanzitutto.
Ciao Maurizio.
Allora, vediamo un po'. Il coach si dovrebbe essere ricollegato. Penso che stia provando. Adesso arriva. Ho buttato fuori nel frattempo i due ragazzi perché Maurizio Gherardini, che come coach Blatt ha vissuto una gara 5 amara e io mentre che il coach si ricollega gli chiederei proprio dopo una settimana più o meno cosa rimane di quella gara 5.
Ma sai, rimane il fatto di averci provato, di essere arrivati molto vicino a un qualcosa che forse, visto il tipo di stagione che abbiamo avuto, non meritavamo di giocarcela, diciamo, 1 contro 8 a quel punto della stagione, perché sapevamo di andare a giocare contro la squadra che era stata più consistente tutta la stagione, quella che ha giocato. Adesso non sappiamo come andranno a finire le Final Four, ma sicuramente la squadra che ha giocato meglio, quindi ci abbiamo provato, ecco, perché sicuramente ci siamo arrivati a un soffio, ecco. Del resto il tiro che Slukas ha fatto noi l'abbiamo visto anche dal vivo nei 5 anni che è stato qui con noi, nel senso che sappiamo che può fare quel tipo di tiro, no? Perché la classe non è acqua, insomma.
No, la classe in quel caso proprio non è acqua. Aspetti che è arrivato il coach. No, era una finta.
Sai, dopo il resto, sai, uno può recriminare su tante cose, ma vivere di recriminazioni non è mai molto saggio, insomma. Quindi diciamo che abbiamo fatto una buona Eurolega, che in fondo il nostro obiettivo era andare ai playoff, che però se pensi a come ti sono sfuggite di mano alcune cose...
Eccolo.
Eccoci qua.
Eccoci qua, che
Eccoci, hi coach.
Surprise.
You know why I love talking to all of you? Because I know I'm going to get the opportunity to see one of my favorite people in the world.
Well, so David, I think they called me because they said someone is crying for game 5. We want somebody else who's crying for game 5 and see how the tears are different or are the same, you know?
Well, fortunately, we both have had some success in game 5, so it's
that's true too.
okay. You know, it's okay.
That's true.
So you are talking, you guys are talking about game 5. So I have a question about game 5 for both of you. Maybe it's exactly the same question. I don't know who's going to reply first, but I want to go back to Giannis Antetokounmpo words of last week's that became so popular about failure in sports and so on. So you both are coming off a game 5 loss, and can we say that these 2 losses for Maccabi as well as for Fener can be really described as steps to success? I mean, part of a real process of growth. Who's going first, coach?
Always respect to my great and wonderful colleague and friend, Maurizio, please.
No, I think it's a good job for coaches and executives to, I think, teach players, especially younger generation, the correct value of the defeat, because I agree on the concept of the defeat. I don't agree on the concept of it's a failure. Failure is exactly when you have the clear perception that you didn't give what you had. But if you give what you have, is my opinion, is never a failure. Then, of course, our job is under pressure. Our job is measured on the goals that are set up at the beginning of a season. Our job is, let's say, perceived and measured in many, many different ways. But it's very important that we understand also the value of defeat, because defeats help you a lot in growing and reaching the success that that you want to achieve. I can share that I share with our team after game 5 in the locker room. I share exactly what I heard. One head coach in the US commenting after Giannis' words, which is the daily process leads to progress. And the concept is that one. I mean, and the daily process includes defeats, includes game 5 defeats, but hopefully you can get to the level that you want to reach with this kind of progress,
Io accordo, but I will add one thing. There are 2 philosophies on winning and losing. The first is you can never know how to win unless you learn how to lose and what you're going to do with that loss, which of course is exactly what Maurizio is saying, as well as the feeling that you can be sad about losing, but you should never be disappointed if you know that you've given your very best, that you've done all you could in terms of your commitment, your effort level, your attempt to adjust and to grow. But the other school is, and I will quote the great American football coach Vince Lombardi, who said, "Show me someone that knows how to lose, and I'll show you a loser." You all can decide which of those 2 philosophies you want to go with. Certainly, the more healthy and probably the better serving philosophy is the first one. I don't know. We're all schooled, and we're all conditioned, and we are all educated to think that the ultimate goal is the only result, and of course it's not. I will use one more parallel. In 1964, a famous American football player, again, by the name of Bob Hayes, won the 100-yard dash, 100-meter dash. Okay, and then he went on to have a great football career. If any of you can tell me who finished second in the 100-meter dash, meaning the second fastest man in the world, I don't know how many billion people there were, probably 5 or 6 billion people. The second fastest in the world, no one remembers his name. Isn't that unfortunate? Isn't there something wrong with that? Isn't there something unsettling about that? You know, you're talking about doing your very best to be your best, and unfortunately the final result is not always the one that you get to, but it doesn't mean it's a bad result.
Allora, ho chiesto velocemente una mini traduzione, ho chiesto ad entrambi i nostri illustri ospiti cosa ne pensano dopo gara 5, se può essere considerata per entrambe le loro squadre, Fenerbahce e Maccabi, quello che Giannis Antetokounmpo ha definito steps to success, e sostanzialmente loro hanno detto, cioè parte di un processo di crescita, e hanno detto due cose molto, molto simili. Maurizio ha detto che chiaramente il termine fallimento si può usare solo nel momento in cui non si è dato tutto quello che si aveva, che poi è lo stesso che ha detto coach Blatt, che però ha aggiunto anche alcuni esempi, soprattutto facendo riferimento ai due modi che ci sono di considerare la sconfitta, arrivando a quello, le famose parole di Vince Lombardi, mitico allenatore di football americano, che disse una volta: presentatemi qualcuno che sa esattamente come si fa a perdere e io lo definirò un loser, un perdente. Ecco, quindi alla fine direi che entrambi concordano sul concetto che quando tu dai il massimo non puoi ritenerti uno che ha fallito, ma semplicemente uno che sta provando a dare il massimo e deve considerare anche la sconfitta. Poi bellissimo l'esempio di coach Blatt quando dice, ha parlato del 1964 di un atleta che vinse i 100 metri e disse ok, tra l'altro giocatore di football che poi tornò a rigiocare a football, però disse io chiedo ai 5-6 miliardi di persone che ci sono sulla Terra se ce n'è uno che si ricorda che è arrivato secondo. Cioè il secondo uomo più veloce del mondo non lo conosce nessuno, non se lo ricorda nessuno, quindi questo è abbastanza, e che poi è abbastanza chiaro. Alle Olimpiadi ci ricordiamo chi vince l'oro sostanzialmente, no? E già lì ci sarebbe un podio con argento e bronzo. Paglia, fai una domanda a tutti e due sulle Final Four, dai, vai.
Una domanda sulle Final Four?
The Final Four, Paglia, sì.
Yes, I had a question on the path walking towards the Final Four. When you prepare a Final Four, you have a lot of time to concentrate on the semi-final. But if you win, you have basically 24 hours or so to do the same for the final. Can you tell us about how a coaching staff or a club work to prepare a Final Four? And if you can, maybe tell us a couple of stories of your experiences.
Well, yeah, I used to like to say and think that the semifinal is about preparation and the final is about principles, because you do have less time. But just like in a game, in the middle of a game, at halftime or even after a quarter or in a timeout at some point during the course of the game, you do have the ability to make small adjustments, small modifications to something you do. You can't change everything, but these are things that also are part of your preparation. You should have in your bag of tricks things that you want to bring out in the time of need. If it's a 2-for-1 situation, if it's a lineup change, if it's an attempt to play more inside or to play more of an open game. These are things that you should come having had already in your bag, so to speak. So for me, those are the two main things. And I can tell you, I fortunately and unfortunately, I've been in both cases. I've lost the first game in the Final Four as a head coach. I've lost the final in a Final Four as a head coach, and I've won the final in a Final Four as a head coach. So I'm probably a good person to ask, but I'm only batting 33%, and that's not great. I can mention a few other competitions where we won, but I won't do that since we're talking about the Euroleague.
Maurizio?
I bet it even worse than David, so I better shut up, but
it's more technical.
If you've been there more, it's a sign of success.
But no, I think David explained from a coaching standpoint, and he can really be a good source because he was, I always say he's probably the most creative basketball mind that we had in the last 2 or 3 decades in Europe. So that's an easy answer for him. But from my point of view as an executive, I've been to I think 9 or 10 Final Fours. I think the most important job that we have to try to accomplish is keeping things normal, calm, to help the group focusing, because there is so much stress, so much excitement, so much attention, so many different faces around the team that there are big chances of losing the focus, losing the correct concentration to go through these games. And I think everybody is overexcited, especially if you win the first game. Because I remember my first Final Four, Tony Kukoc was our star. And I remember that the day in between, on Saturday, I was walking outside the hotel in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep. Just too much, let's say, excitement, So I can imagine the players, I can imagine the coaches. And I think it's a great effort for the people around the coaches and players to try to ease up things and keep them under control and help as much as possible to have players and coaches focus on what it takes to win. I think that's the most important thing.
Ho chiesto al coach e a Maurizio, ho sottolineato il fatto che comunque per preparare una Final Four c'è tantissimo tempo, o comunque tanto tempo per preparare una semifinale e di fatto 24 ore per preparare invece la finale, quindi come si approcciano a questo processo, insomma. E coach Blatt ci ha sottolineato come la semifinale riguarda la preparazione della partita, la finale si gioca sui principi, quindi più principi hai messo in bagaglio durante l'anno e più poi puoi metterli in campo anche per correggere in corso alla semifinale, ma ovviamente soprattutto per giocarteli poi nel corso della finale. Maurizio ovviamente guardava le cose dalla prospettiva del club, quindi la cosa più importante, ha sottolineato, quella di cercare di mantenere l'ambiente tranquillo, perché soprattutto dopo, se vinci una semifinale, appunto poi il rischio dell'entusiasmo, dell'eccesso, insomma, di entusiasmo poi può tirare brutti scherzi, insomma. Sei muto?
Lo so, stiamo facendo dei numeri per cercare di avere un audio di buon livello. Ovviamente noi terremo qui queste due personalità, non so come altro chiamarle, per tutta la sera, però ovviamente non vogliamo abusare del tempo, soprattutto di Maurizio Gherardini, che aveva tanti impegni e ci ha ancora una volta onorato la sua presenza, per salutare coach Blatt, a cui noi abbiamo ancora 2 domande da fare, per cui do la chance a Maurizio di eclissarsi serenamente e ci risentiamo poi.
Ragazzi, io vi ringrazio. Thank you to all of you. David, always a pleasure to see you. Congrats for all your late achievements. Just don't try to beat us next year, because we'll be ready for a game 5, so be ready for that.
I know that too well. Big pleasure to see you, Maurizio, as always.
Ciao a tutti. Ciao.
A presto, grazie. L'ho lanciato fuori con delicatezza, è andata bene. Maurizio Gherardini, che è come dire, abbiamo avuto presenti 2 personaggi tra i più importanti, se non i più importanti, dietro a quelle che erano 2 squadre che si sono fermate proprio alle porte delle Final Four. Con coach Blatt We have a couple of questions more, Coach, for you. And after that, we just want to know that we will ask what your opinion about the European champion.
Okay.
In your opinion, who will triumph in the Kaunas weekend? But after a couple of questions.
Vedo Marza.
Marza?
Okay, Coach, it's a kind of weird situation. We are going to a Final Four, where, as if we consider all the comments and so, we have 3 coaches that are not sure of being on the same bench next year. Only Barzokas looks like being safely on Olympiacos bench next year. So many rumors, so many doubts. I'm asking you, as a coach, given your experience, how do you deal with such a kind of pressure? And more important, could the leadership of a coach on the team be somehow reduced or affected from this this special, strange, or weird situation?
First of all, I don't think any one of the coaches is going to have any problem next year, regardless of whether they're staying or going somewhere else. They're all great coaches, and they've all done great work, and they've shown that not only this year, but either having been part of very successful programs with other great coaches, or they themselves having had great results. So, fortunately for these fine coaches, I do not have to be concerned. They're going to be okay. Now, if you ask me, if you ask my opinion, if I am managing one of those teams, I am making sure that that coach is signed and done already for next year, because I think they deserve it. You know, and I think that they deserve the peace of mind and the confidence of those around him. I am not making the decision for those clubs, so I'm just giving you an opinion. But if I were in their shoes, that's the first thing that I would be thinking to do. Time will tell. I'm happy to say that, again, all of those guys will be fine. No worries for them.
Ho chiesto al coach di descriverci un attimo la sua opinione su questa strana situazione. Se stiamo a sentire tutte le voci di mercato, ci sono ben 3 allenatori su 4, direi Barzokas a parte, che sembra l'unico sicuro, che potrebbero non essere sulla stessa panchina l'anno prossimo. Gli ho chiesto se questa cosa potrebbe, diciamo, ridurre, creare un po' di pressione ulteriore sugli stessi allenatori e addirittura ridurre magari la leadership degli stessi sulla squadra. Lui dice, innanzitutto la cosa più ovvia è che questi sono tutti grandi allenatori, che quindi l'anno prossimo non avranno problemi. Perché sono grandi allenatori, troveranno da lavorare o meno, comunque sono grandi allenatori. E poi dice, io non, la cosa che farei, non voglio prendere nessuna decisione o sembrare di fare una cosa simile, però se fossi in questi club, questi allenatori che sono arrivati alle Final Four meritano di essere riconfermati, e quindi mi assicurerei che mettano una firma su un contratto anche per la prossima stagione. Però ha ribadito ancora alla fine, sono tutta gente che non avrà grandissimi problemi anche per la prossima stagione. Vai Paglia.
For me, a question that has nothing to do with Euroleague. I jump on national teams basketball. Your Russia in 2007 with J.R. Holden was one of the first team to succeed using a naturalized player with a very big impact. I remember Radulovic for Italy, but was not on the same level of impact on the team. Nowadays, basically every national team watch to opportunities like this. What do you think about this?
I think that the right way to handle it is, if you are going to have a nationalized player, at the very least, this player should be someone who has taken part in a significant amount of time in that country's local league. You know, if you mention Holden, for example, he was in Russia for several years before he was nationalized. In other cases, there are players that are not spending even a day in the country playing, and they are being nationalized. So I would look to find something in the middle that works, because now it's not kosher, so to speak. The way that it's being done, and I would like to see a compromise. On the other hand, I'm thinking to myself all the time that something is coming, some very, very big change in all of national team basketball is going to happen. It's not going to be this year, it's not going to be next year, but it is coming because of the demands on the players and the local leagues. And of course, the seemingly endless conflict between Euroleague and FIBA basketball. It can't continue like this. This is just one of the small and many issues that exist. But something transformational must happen to make the continuation of these kind of international competitions work better. That is my opinion. I have my ideas on it. As soon as someone wants to hire me, I will tell them what to do. But right now, I'm holding in my stomach. Not really. I don't need another job. For me, working with my club, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and working with the Canadian national team, it's enough for me. So
It's enough.
Ho chiesto al coach appunto la sua Russia nel 2007 era stata una delle prime nazionali ad avere un giocatore naturalizzato con un grandissimo impatto, con J.R. Holden. E appunto oggi invece ormai quasi tutte le nazionali si stanno avvicinando a questa opportunità. Gli ho chiesto appunto cosa ne pensasse, e lui è per una posizione diciamo un po' intermedia, quindi naturalizzazioni sì, ma di giocatori che hanno almeno avuto a che fare o comunque giocato nel campionato nazionale di riferimento per qualche tempo, per qualche periodo. Quindi diciamo una soluzione un po' intermedia, perché poi ci sono nazionali che effettivamente invece stanno utilizzando di fatto giocatori con cui magari non hanno avuto niente a che fare prima della naturalizzazione stessa. Poi il coach ha allargato il discorso ai problemi insomma del basket internazionale, e appunto che sottolineando che ovviamente ci dovranno e secondo lui ci saranno a breve dei grandi cambiamenti, e che poi scherzando ovviamente se qualcuno lo chiama per dare consigli è pronto e disponibile, insomma. Ovviamente era una battuta.
Sì, in realtà non è disponibile perché ha già e tra l'altro la nazionale canadese al prossimo mondiale avrà un So, coach, very last question about the Final Four. From a Euroleague winner, I have to ask you, who will win this trophy? Who do you think, in your opinion, after seeing all the playoffs games?
I don't want to lose any friends.
No, of course. We ask about your sports experience.
I will say this, that certainly from the standpoint of season-long performance, Olympiacos and Barcelona were the two most successful teams, but it's a one-game event, semi and a final, and anything can happen. So it's very, very difficult to say. Four good teams, four very different teams, which I like about this particular Final Four. They're very different teams, both in terms of style of play and in terms of rosters. So it's going to be exciting. The fans are really going to enjoy this. This year's EuroLeague was tremendous. With the 18 teams, one of the changes that I expect to see going forward is the EuroLeague growing even larger. I don't know exactly when, but this year was an outstanding Euroleague season, and the Final Four will not disappoint. It should be great, really great.
Yeah, great Coach Blatt that in sostanza, traducendo rapidamente, ci dice è talmente difficile quest'anno proprio perché sostanzialmente la regular season ci ha regalato una stagione incredibile, lo diciamo da tempo, il coach concorda e quindi per questo motivo dice è impossibile sapere cosa accadrà, perché Olympiacos e Barcellona, guardando la regular season e forse anche i playoff, sono quelle che hanno giocato, come dire, in modo più consistente, sono state più vincenti per più lungo periodo, però le altre sono Real Madrid e Monaco, che sono due squadre assolutamente in singola serata, possono assolutamente battere sia l'una che l'altra. Quindi la cosa bella di queste Final Four, dice il coach, e questa è una notazione, sono 4 squadre che giocano una pallacanestro diversa, hanno un roster diversi e stili di gioco diversi, quindi sarà divertente, figuriamoci per uno come lui, che vede la pallacanestro come solo lui la vede, capire quale stile avrà la meglio sull'altro, quale tipo di adattamento, per esempio chi ha più adattamenti, chi ha meno, chi vuole imporre il suo gioco, chi meno, insomma sarà uno spettacolo pazzesco. Per questo motivo Coach Blatt, giustamente per tanti amici che ha in tutta Europa, non ci dice secondo lui chi vincerà, tanto non lo sa nessuno. So, Coach, we appreciate it so much. You don't give us the name of the European champion, but we know the reasons. You have explained it so well, so it's not a problem. We talk between us in the next 30 minutes. We thank you so much to be here again, talking about European basketball. You are a legend of European basketball, so thank you so much again.
Grande. Grazie ragazzi e tutti.
Ci sentiamo presto.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
It's an honor.
Buone Final Four, Coach.